Well, hey, what's going on, you guys? I have an interesting video to make today. You've never seen me talk about shotguns, and I have quite a bit. I actually have others that I can't even reach for because I don't want these to fall. I want to talk about shotguns today, you guys, and I want to talk about the ones that I feel are the highest quality for your money. Uh, one of these I just bought, this one here. This is a Maverick 88. I put that side saddle on it just yesterday. I had this out at the range last week, and when I was firing it, it was working fine for me, but I had a buddy and it had a problem. And the problem here, you guys, let me set down this 870 real quick. The problem is this here was a brand new gun. This came from Mossberg. It's a Mossberg, but it's Maverick 88, which means it's made in Eagle Pass, Texas, and some of the parts are imported from Mexico. And I've owned these before. I've had one other one that a neighbor got many years ago. Gave it to my neighbor, but they're not expensive. They're like 170 bucks, 150 bucks back then. I paid 190 for this one because this one had the 7-shot tube magazine underneath it, and it had the pistol grip, which makes it look, more scary or more desirable, I suppose. So I had never had a pistol grip shotgun. I wanted to try it out. And I tell you guys one thing, this pistol grip is not going to be on here very long. That with a 3-inch shell, double-aught buck, that's a lot to hold on to. After just 15 shots, my hand was kind of numb. I mean, literally, I've shot some like high caliber. Well, the largest handgun I've ever fired has been a 44 Magnum with a full house load, but this is much worse than that. I venture to say it's probably worse than a 500 Magnum, but I can't say that. I just don't know. My hand was pretty numb after just 3 or 4 shots. I could feel it stinging. I thought I broke the gun once because it recoiled so hard it actually blew this front part out of my hand, and I was just like, just too much. And then I started putting the 9 pellet instead of the 15 pellet 2 3/4 inch double-aught buckshot, and then it was manageable. So I'm not shouting this down at all. This is still a good tool. It's just for me. I think nowadays, if you're going to go for this look, it's probably better to get the Shockwave because then you're getting your barrel even shorter. Now that they have guns like that fall into that category. But hey, this is a quality gun, you guys. This is essentially a Mossberg 500. You know, the military uses Mossberg. Uh, you have a little release in the back here at my thumb that opens the pump. You can see there's nothing in it. You watch it, nothing in it. Now here's the problem that I have with this gun, you guys. Now I want to say Mossberg, they took care of me. But I will say this. Generally, when you buy a brand new gun, you don't want problems. I took this out to the range and I was firing it no problem. Not like this. I'd hit myself. I was firing it with my hands out. I just have such long arms. I'm 6'6", so I was able to look down the sights and I could handle the recoil. But they actually tell you in the instructions to shoot from the hip because a lot of people were getting busted in the face. That'll take teeth out if you're too close, trying to use that bead sight they put on there. But so I'm out there firing it, and I hand it to my buddy David, and he fires it, and click, nothing happens. And what we came to discover after 10 minutes of fooling around trying to figure out why is the gun not firing for you, when he was pulling the trigger, he didn't pull it straight back. Once again, I'm making sure nothing's in there, and nothing is. When he'd pull the trigger, this is what you should hear. Click. That's straight back. I'm always checking that chamber. Nothing's in there. When he pulled the trigger, he was putting sideways pressure as he went back. So he was pulling it like to the side and back. And the gun was malfunctioning. So what I did, I was like, well, these are hard to find. I figured, well, I could sell it, or I could just call Mossberg and see what happens. The next day I called Mossberg. They emailed me a label After I described my problem, I took the trigger assembly out. There's a pin that's right here. When I had to put this shoulder shell holster saddle on there, you take out the original pin and you put in this screw, but originally there was just a pin right there, and this is how the gun was when it was acting up. I haven't shot it yet with a saddle on there. It'll do fine. But I mailed them back the trigger. They had me another, before they even received this, they had already mailed me another one, and I can already tell this one here has no problems whatsoever. So there is some quality control issues. When they say a few parts are made in Mexico, even if the gun's assembled in Eagle Pass, Texas, they took care of me right away, you guys. They never even received the trigger and they had shipped it out. So that tells you something about their customer service. Mossberg is very good. And these guns are full warranted. You buy a brand new gun, you're not going to have problems. I'm sure I just got the lemon. Excuse me. But they took care of me. So I had that issue. Uh, I just figured I'd let you guys know because I didn't know what I was going to do at first. Was I just going to kind of wash my hands of the gun, sell it? Because these are desirable, these pistol grip ones. They're not as easy to find. You don't see a gun like this in a pawn shop very long before somebody buys it. But I had one when I was younger. I had one that had a four or five shot capacity. The bottom tube ended about where my finger is here, and it had the full size stock. And it was a great gun. And they have there's a few benefits to these, and there's a few negative things I can say. The gun that I want to compare this to is my favorite, the Remington 870. That's absolutely been solid and never done anything wrong. This is the second one I've owned. I had another that a really good friend, he just kept asking me to buy it. It's a good guy that I work with, and I eventually just said, okay, I'll sell it to you. And then I found that one a few months later. But the good things about this is when you go to load the Mossberg 500, your shell will actually fit in the bottom, and then you just push up like that. I'm not going to do it because that's a live round, but you get the point. You can actually just take a shell, you can slap it in there, it holds it, it's retained. Now, with the 870, you can't necessarily do that. You have to actually push down on that loading gate. So you get used to it. It's real simple. It kind of guides it in. That doesn't bother me, but I kind of prefer the Mossberg in that respect. Now, the 870, on the other hand, it has an all-steel receiver because this is the Wingmaster Magnum. This is probably made in the 70s when Magnum meant 3-inch chamber. And nowadays they have 3.5-inch chamber, and that's really to get more steel shot into a shell because steel is lighter weight than lead when you're shooting at migratory birds. So 3-inch is still, I don't see 3.5-inch Magnum buckshot too often at all. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I've seen 18 pellet instead of 15 in a 3-inch chamber by Stellar and Bellet, and if I can get some of that, I will, because that's pretty gnarly to have 18 double-aught pellets on the back of this box. If y'all pause the video, you can see the sizes there. Double-aught buckshot's pretty big. That's 8.38 millimeter or 0.33 inch. That's like getting hit by 15 .33 caliber bullets at once with one of these shells. And if you guys notice that spot on my face right here, that's a little bruise. And I'll tell you how it happened. This 870, I had the bright idea that, you know what, I need to make it look, let's just say, tactical or home defensive. Let's bring some life into this old girl. That's what I was thinking. So I went out and I bought one of those pistol grip collapsible stocks for the Remington 870, and I bought a new foregrip, and I got this on sale, but I probably got about $65 of stuff right here that I had to buy because I thought that would make this gun better. So after I get it all on there, I'm out there shooting with that 3-inch Magnum shell, and boom, And somehow, I don't know if I wasn't holding it right, I don't know what happened, but this piece comes back and hits me in the cheek. And it's been sore to the touch for 2 weeks now. I mean, I don't know how I got myself like that, but I did. So, yeah, I took it back off. I'm not saying this is a good product. It's well made. It's Phoenix Technologies. I don't have anything bad to say about this, but the real reason why I took it off isn't because it hit me in the face. Heck, I could take a Dremel tool and take that piece right off. It's just, I miss the wood. The Wingmaster has beautiful wood, you guys. It's checkered. It's just nice. And here's another thing I'll show you. When you pump it down, see how that covers the chamber? Now you can still take shells and push them in there if you wanted to. You can still get a shell up in there. But the aftermarket one didn't do that. It wasn't near as big. So when it was in the down position, you could actually see the whole chamber. It just kind of looked like that. It was just right there. So, there might be a tactical advantage to that. I don't know. I prefer the wood. I like that soft, smooth, there's nothing to go wrong here. There's a metal plate in between the wood. It was more custom fit. It was made for this wood. I'm going to keep the wood on it. Now, when I first bought this gun, I told you it's my second one. The 870 Wingmaster, they're known for being hand fitted and steel receivers. They are very nice shotguns. And back in the past, I had one, and it had like, I think it was a 19-inch barrel, and it had a brass bead. It was made for like a home defensive role. When I bought this one, it wasn't. It was a 30-inch barrel for like duck or waterfowl or something. And I cut it down to 18 3/4. I drilled and tapped and rebeaded that. I did a real nice job. And now I actually will use it. It'd been sitting in the safe for so long just because I don't want a 30-inch barrel. It's just not practical for my use. I'm not really a bird hunter. I hunt buck and hogs. So now I can use this thing. And I put a new recoil pad on it. Hopefully that holds on there. I used epoxy. Uh, but the old one, this had been shot so much that it was kind of caved in up at the top. I mean, these things last, you guys. These are quality guns. There's two pins that you can push out, and then the whole trigger symbol will come out. You can clean everything. They're solid guns. So if you ever find, I think today you can still get a Wingmaster. I think they're around $800. If you can find one used for, you know, 300 or 400, and if it's in really good shape or less, like I said, I paid $225 for this one at a pawn shop, and this is an outstanding gun. Now I only have 4 shell capacity in the tube, but they make all kinds of extensions and little devices. But if somebody comes in, that's a lot of firepower, you guys, and you have so many options. You have like 15 pellet double-aught buck. You could put a bird shot in there. Even cheap bird shot shreds at close distances. Another thing about bird shot, you guys, I know we're in the COVID, well, we're out of it now, I would argue, but you get this bird shot at just your local store. I paid $6.25 for this box at Walmart. 25 shells, 12 gauge. You can take a butter knife. You can actually open up these little crimps right here. You can pour the shot out, and then you can go get copper-coated steel BBs, and you can fill them back up, and then you'll have BB shot. You just fill up that shot cup and push it back in there and take a knife and make it look pretty, put the little star pattern. I've done this before, and it's real easy to do, and you're probably getting higher velocity because this steel shot doesn't weigh as much as the lead in that volume of capacity. That's just something you can do, and then you have a little bit bigger shot, probably closer to like a good turkey load or something, but it'd still be very good for home defense. And then you could get 25 shells of BB shot for $6.50, and well, this is like $1.85 or $2.99. It was something cheap. I'm guessing you could make 50 rounds out of a container of this, and it just takes, I don't know, 30 minutes of your time to do a few of them. It's just an idea, you guys, but definitely definitely a very nice gun, the Remington 870. It is my favorite. Now, like I said, I will be getting a stock for this, and I've already ordered it. And once I get it in, I'm going to go out and shoot this thing. And it's a nice gun. Nothing wrong. It's a very nice gun. But if I was going to keep it with the pistol grip, I would only want to do the 9 pellet buckshot. And I have a whole lot of this 3-inch 15 pellet. That's kind of my favorite, even though it kicks like like a lot. Then I have these expanding slugs, and I have other kinds of slugs, standard slugs. I got all kinds of shot. These royal expanding slugs are pretty crazy. It shows like this high brass shell with, you can see how that thing just flowers when it hits something. So crazy shell. Uh, and I've shot wood with those, and it's just been very traumatic. Uh, you can make cut shells. You can take bird shot, run your pocket knife around them until they're slightly. You get, watch. I'm not going to show you guys how to do it, but watch a video on cut shells. Just something to think about. A lot of fun. Uh, but yeah, so the military uses the 500. So the Mossberg 500, the Remington 870, and then probably the Benelli Nova and Supernova. I mean, those are, you used to be also the Winchester 1300. Those are kind of the big four I can mention of what I would consider the top manufacturers or shotguns that I've heard of. But if somebody's breaking into your home close range, like I said, you're hitting somebody with 15 .33 caliber bullets. That's going to take them down. This is a primary weapon. It's not a secondary. This is in the hands of somebody that knows how to use it. This is a devastating gun. And you could become very proficient with this pistol grip if you dedicated some time to it. And this little brace, I can actually put my thumb there and get a little bit more brace out of it. So that's kind of interesting. It's a good idea. I like this side saddle a lot by Phoenix. Well, no, this isn't Phoenix. This was made by Phoenix Technologies. This is good stock. I just didn't prefer it. I like that wood look. Thought I'd like it and just didn't, but it's still a good product. Uh, this is made by Archangel, and I bought it from a sporting goods store. It's an Archangel side saddle for the 870. Well, for the Mossberg 500 here. They make them for the 870 as well, though. But you guys, shotguns. That's just my thoughts. Philosophy of use. They used them in World War I, and they were very effective and very devastating. I tell you this personal experience: when I'm out at my gun club, when I'm shooting at a steel plate, if I drop one of these 1-ounce slugs, it's moving at 1,610 feet per second. When that slug hits that steel plate, ping! I hear a ring like half the time it breaks the chain and the plate hits the ground. So I probably should quit doing it, but I go down there and try to fix it when this happens most of the time. But they are powerful guns. There's a lot of power here, a lot of foot-pounds. So if you don't have one, you guys, for $200, a Maverick 88 like this, totally worth it. Totally worth it. So I'm going to end right there on this note. Now I'm going to show you guys a little teaser here for the future. I picked this up today. This has an Eisenhower dollar on both sides. It's a 20 gauge by Springfield, and it's pre-1968. I can't even find a serial number on it, which is okay because that's how they were made back then. And I bought this at a local gun store for $50. So I'm going to go out there and play with this and tell you guys, I've had these before. The bad thing here, it has a break action. You get one shot, so I don't suggest this for a defense gun. This would be you see the barrel's long too. It probably has a 30-inch barrel on it right now, but this would be a good bird hunting gun, but not as good when you can have a pump with 3 shells in there. So, but for $50, and I've never owned a 20 gauge, so this will be interesting. Something coming in the future. Well, you guys, this is a Christian channel, and if you have any questions, please like, comment, subscribe. And I'm actually going through the book of John, and I'm on the 3rd chapter. So without further ado, let me move some of these shells here. I actually unloaded the 870. That is my bedside gun. Uh, I keep it in this little sheath, pretty much right, just like that, and it just sits in this little shoulder sheath. Just sits in my bedroom. So that would be my primary if somebody broke in, and I probably would have it loaded with the 15 pellet double-aught buck. But I think my first 2 shells are birdshot, because at close range, even birdshot's devastating, and I'm not trying to go through a wall and hit a neighbor or whatever. I know buckshot penetrates a lot more, but all that kind of talks for another video. Well, let me get to it. John chapter 3. You guys, I'm in the King James Bible. This is 1 John chapter 3. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore the world know us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath this hope purifies himself, even as he is pure. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. And ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth hath not seen him, neither known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. Whosoever is born of God doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin, because he is born of God. In this the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. For this is the message that ye have heard from the beginning, that we should love one another, not as Cain, who was of the wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brother's were righteous. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. We know that we have passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him. Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And hereby we know that we are of the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and knoweth all things. Beloved, if our heart condemns us not, then we have confidence towards God. And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments, and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. And this is the commandment, that we should believe on the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another as he gave us commandments. And he that keepeth his commandments dwelleth in him, and he in him. And hereby we know that he abideth in us by the Spirit which he hath given us. And that there is the end of chapter 3. Now there's many points in here, you guys. There's many things I could comment on. There's one passage that I'm going to make mention of before I end this video. There's so much in here. But if I can find it right here. Okay, verse 8. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifest, that he might destroy the works of the devil. So Christ, he has destroyed the work of the devil. I mean, the Bible even says, not a single man does righteousness continually and never sins. That's in the Old Testament. I'd have to go back and look up the exact chapter to tell you, but it's in there. There's not a single man that does righteousness continually and never sins. And I know in Ecclesiastes it also says, don't be overly righteous or overly wise. Why should you ruin yourself? So if you can imagine, some priests and scribes are just very devout people that are striving in their relationship to God. I mean, there's all kinds of tales. I've heard stories of Martin Luther and how he would punish his own flesh, and he was just very hard on himself. I mean, uh, men sometimes do things like this in an effort to punish or to, they're almost against their own flesh because their devotion to God is so strong. But there's a balance here. There's an equilibrium. I just want to use that word. But when Jesus came, for this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. So in his flesh on the cross, he destroyed the power of sin, putting an end to sin. But likewise, now that we have received his grace and are continuing therein, when we fall short, we have a covering. We're covered in the blood. And I really love that you know, John, he says, let no man deceive you in verse 7. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. And he's continually going back on this commandment. And the two commandments we have of Christ are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself, and especially your brother, which John is commenting on. There must have been lots of strife in the brethren, which is another thing that is very displeasing to God. So, you guys, I just wanted to share this passage. You see the grace. We're all going to sin. We're all going to fall short. But in the cross, Jesus has taken care of sin. And through our relationship and our love for him, the power of the Spirit that is within us will cause us to eventually overcome those sins. And we're going to do better by his grace and purify ourselves continually. I just want to break it down like that, but you guys, this is just something to meditate on. It's a beautiful chapter, and you guys have a blessed night. Thank you for watching. I'll try to get another video out here in a week or two on that 20 gauge there when I can find some shells for it. So y'all have a good night. Thank you.